Congressional races are set. On Tuesday, Jared Moskowitz trounced his Democratic Socialist rival, Oliver Larkin. Moskowitz will now square off against former Boca Raton Mayor Scott Singer. Former TV newsman Elliot Rodriguez will take on former TV newswoman Maria Elvira Salazar in District 27. And Debbie Wasserman Schultz won her primary in a racially charged election to see who would represent the voters in District 20. The entire affair left Wasserman Schultz a bit emotional.
I want to thank the voters of District 20 for having confidence in me, this is such a difficult.
Take your time, Debbie. Take your time, Debbie.
This is such a difficult and fraught time in our country. There is so much at stake in this moment. And I want people to know that representation matters. It matters. And I will fight to make sure that representation counts again.
And because that district is overwhelmingly Democratic, let's face it, Kamala Harris won it by 37 points, Wasserman Schultz should easily be reelected in November. The same goes for the winner in District 24 that saw a flood of negative ads in the Democratic primary to replace Frederica Wilson. The winner in that race, Oliver Gilbert. I spoke to him after his big win. When you woke up election day that morning, you thought you were going to lose, didn't you?
No.
Come on, really?
Jim, listen, why would I think that?
Well, look, you had $2 million in negative ads dumped on you. There was a poll that had come out, turns out to be a terrible poll, that had you well behind. I know people inside your circle were like, this could be a long, bad night. And you're really honestly going to sit here and tell me you knew you had this in the bag?
Oh, no, I'm not going to say that. What I'll tell you is this. I didn't think I was going to lose, and this is why. And let me give you the other side of the equation. I had $2 million in ads, and it was really more than that, right? It was 2.2. And before that, Chevron had spent a couple $100,000 in negative ads against me. But they spent $1 million, and then they felt it necessary to try to spend another. So them spending that second million told me that it didn't actually work. Also, that's on the other side of the equation. On the other side of the equation, I spent about 4 hours in every afternoon and evening walking door to door. I walked voters myself with teams. I walked voters. So I dropped a bunch of weight. I'm several shades darker. But when I was walking voters' houses and knocking on their doors, people weren't just saying they were supporting me. They were saying, hey, can we have a sign in our yard? Now, people might lie about supporting you, but they don't lie when they ask for a sign in their yard. And so when I'm running out of signs every time I go out walking in places like Miramar and Liberty City and North Miami, not Miami Gardens, you can't tell me that somebody's beating me by 9, 10, 15 points. It was the most ridiculous thing.
We know those ads were put together by a group called Protect Progress, which is a lobbying group for the crypto industry. Obviously, nothing in the ads related to crypto or anything related to it. They were targeting you. Do you know why the crypto industry wanted you in their crosshairs?
I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that people who gave millions of dollars to elect Donald Trump were spending millions of dollars to make sure I didn't go to Congress. And when you start to actually piece that together for folks, what they say is, well, if they did want Donald Trump, and they don't want Oliver, and we don't like Donald Trump, then we must like Oliver. I don't know that the ads had the effect that they thought they did. And when you take those ads and you look at the polling that was coming out, I knew the polling was wrong. But independent of knowing the polling was wrong, I knew something else. I knew that people knew me from our first baseline poll. People basically knew me. And I knew that people trusted Congresswoman Wilson, and they trusted Mayor Cava, and they trusted me. I just had to remind them. And so we spent that last week and a half reminding them.
Do you have strong opinions, views on the crypto industry?
No.
I've never actually had a conversation with you about crypto. I don't know where you stand on it.
I don't have strong opinions about it. I don't have strong opinions about it. It's interesting, Jim, because people think that we think that the way things are is how they have to be. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I know that paper dollars is a relatively new invention in the context of human civilization, right? And so I don't know that everything will always be the same. I don't have strong opinions about it. I literally have no idea why they attacked me.
I want to broaden out a little bit because I think across the state of Florida, one of the stories, because of the race in 24, because of the race in District 20, other races that were going around, there was a higher than average African-American turnout across the state of Florida. And I know, and I'm curious as to your thoughts. I think that benefited Angie Nixon in her surprising win. How surprised were you by Angie Nixon winning in her primary? And what did you take away from her victory?
I wasn't surprised at all. I endorsed Angie early on. So the Democratic primary, it's very difficult to have a Democratic primary candidate in a statewide election who doesn't engage at all with the Black community. If we're speaking honestly, Alex didn't. So I'm the former chair of the county commission, former mayor of the largest Black city in the state of Florida. By any accounts, whether I won or lost this election, I am a notable Democrat that people reach out to when they come to the county. I never met this guy. I mean, that's just real. So what it tells me is that if you're willing to go and meet people where they are and talk to them and tell them your ideas, independent of a title, that you can actually get support. I think he took for granted a nomination, and people said, you know, we get to have the last say. And that's my outtake on this election generally for my race also. Listen, I'd never seen anything like the money that was spent against me, Jim. I'd never seen anything like that in such a compressed period of time, especially. But what we know now is something I've been preaching to folks. Listen, money is money, but people ultimately have a say. We ultimately get to decide. You get to make a decision whether you believe that ad. You get to make a decision whether you know this candidate. You get to make a decision whether you're going to vote based on what all of this stuff that they're saying or a record that you can see and ideas that you believe in. You get to make a decision. And so that's when I look at those two things together, it fits for me. It fits for me because she actually came to early voting and passed out papers. She walked the streets in Little Haiti. She went places where the voters were. She went places where the voters were. And if you're willing to go and talk to voters where they are, especially in a Democratic primary, and your opponent isn't, well, I don't know how anybody really was surprised that he lost.
You are in now a seat that was fought for by Carrie Meek, carried on by her son, and then held for an even longer period of time by Frederica Wilson. How does that weigh on you in terms of the responsibility? Do you feel a responsibility with the background and the history of that seat? And where do you take it from here?
I think the weight of this seat historically is extraordinary. Congresswoman Meek, Congressman Meek, and Congresswoman Frederica Wilson Frederica Wilson, our Congresswoman, she is an extraordinary public servant. When I think about having the ability to serve in the same capacity that she served us so honorably, it's humbling. I said this the night of the election. I really don't want to disappoint her. Like Congresswoman Wilson, my parents have both passed away. They idolized her. Like my mom and my dad, like she could do no wrong. That her service was the type of service that they defined real service as, service that actually impacted people and impact people. And so, yeah, it weighs on me. I definitely want to make sure I do right by her legacy and continuing the things that she's worked for, whether it be the 5,000 role models, the veteran housing, the infrastructure projects, the parks that she's building that she's gotten funded across the Congressional District, all the many things that work with our seaport that powers our economy. She's working on things. I want to continue those things for sure. I also want to expand it. I want to do things like bring the SBA hyper-localized here to actually try to break some of the cycles of poverty. We keep talking about breaking cycles of poverty, but we need to give people an opportunity to be job creators and not just job seekers. We have talent here. We're powered by small businesses. We're powered by small businesses because South Florida is the best iteration of the American dream that you're going to find. People come here willing to work and build, and we can do it. I think that it's incumbent on us to try. It's within our capacity to make this better for people, Jim. And those are real ideas, real problems, not talking points. I want to go to Washington, D.C. and try to make life better. That's what Congresswoman Wilson has done. And I think that honors her legacy.